we were working with a kind of part-time land developer a couple months ago. He had bought a small parcel in the Bay Area, and he was trying to develop that, put a few houses on it. And I tell people land development in the Bay Area is really challenging. It's probably one of the most difficult places in the world to develop land. And this guy, he got himself in a really tough spot, and he could potentially see some major financial losses. And I wanted to tell a little bit of that story without naming him by name, but I wanted to share a little bit of the story because I think it's important. It helps you understand why you really shouldn't be doing land development in most parts of California if you're an amateur. And when I say amateur, I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean, if you're going to develop land in California, you really need to know what you're doing. You should be a professional, and you should probably have a good consultant team with you. So I want to explain why you need to get a good consultant team if you're going to work in real estate in California, especially in our urban areas, and talk about who is that, who should be on your consultant team if you're going to invest in real estate or develop real estate. And but let me tell you a little more about this story. So this individual got talked into buying a piece of property. We'll call him Sean. So Sean got talked into make an investment in this piece of property with his partner, who we'll call Bill. So Sean and Bill decided to buy this piece of property. And right out the gate, Sean made some mistakes. So they formed an LLC to buy this piece of property. And one of the first mistakes that Sean made is he didn't get a good contract with this partnership. So I don't want to get too technical, but essentially Sean put in most of the money up front to buy the property, but didn't have most of the control. His partner, Bill, had most of the control. So Sean was in a situation where Bill had most of the control, but didn't have the skin in the game that Sean had. Sean was going to take almost all the financial loss if things didn't go well. They paid too much for the parcel. We found out, they basically paid more than it was worth, certainly more than it was worth in its existing condition. And it's possible they could have turned a profit by developing the parcel, but it was going to be close. They didn't leave themselves a lot of wiggle room. So even if they developed the parcel, by the time they paid for the development, they were going to be, wasn't for sure they were going to cover their development costs. So now they've got a piece of property. They probably can't sell it for what they paid for it. And even if they develop it, there's a chance that they're going to come out money behind. And he got some tight loan terms. So the terms on their loan were tight. There was an aggressive repayment timeline. They didn't have a lot of flexibility there. They were in a really tough jurisdiction. So the city was not happy about what they were trying to do. And they kind of had an uphill battle at the city. And I could tell just from some initial conversations I had with Sean that he certainly wasn't what I would call an experienced land developer. And he had some construction experience. He'd built some homes before, but never in a situation like this. And he certainly didn't ask enough questions about that piece of property before he bought it. So what does his story, what does Sean's story teach us? Sean's going to potentially face a pretty heavy loss. And so what do we learn from that? Well, I want you to remember every real estate opportunity carries risk. If somebody tells you they've got a land development deal or a real estate investment deal with zero risk, they're lying to you. All real estate carries risks. We've got other videos that talk about the different types of risk there are in real estate. And I would say real estate, because of its complexity, is one of the riskiest investments you can make. That's why you should be a professional before you get involved. It's certainly, I think, riskier than picking stocks. And it's definitely riskier than buying bonds in most cases. So even if you're a great day trader on Wall Street, or you have a few years of experience in the construction or real estate industry, that doesn't make you a good real estate investor. So you need to be really careful. And you should always ask yourself this question: why hasn't somebody bought this piece of property already? If it's a great investment opportunity, why hasn't that investment opportunity already been taken advantage of? Why isn't it reflected in the sale price? Now, there are opportunities out there for good teams to get a piece of property. Maybe they see an opportunity that other people missed, or they have a way to overcome certain challenges or handle the risk And that's how good land developers make money. But that really takes some expertise. And if you're an experienced developer investor and you think you smell an opportunity that somebody else has missed, you're probably wrong. And so you just need to exercise some humility. I'm not saying that you can't, strike it big on your very first land development project, but it's uncommon. And you need to approach your investment with some humility. So, real estate can be profitable, but it carries risk. No parcel's perfect. There's issues with every parcel of land. And especially in urban areas, things get really complicated. The utilities get complicated. The land use regulations get complicated. The construction is more complicated. You get into an urban area, everything is more difficult. So you have to be careful. So one of the things that can help you is putting together the right consultant team. And because real estate is so complicated, people have specialized in different areas of real estate expertise. So for example, I'm a land surveyor and a private land planner. That's what I specialize in. I probably can't help you a whole lot with the financing. You're going to want to talk to somebody that does that. I can't serve as your broker. That's not my specialty either. There's a whole bunch of rules that brokers have to follow that I don't know. So you want to build a good team of real estate professionals that can help you with your project. And if you're in Central California, we can help you do that here at Redefined Horizons. We can help you put a team together. But so who should be on your consultant team if you're going to develop real estate or invest in real estate professionally? You should have a local land surveyor, land planner. Definitely have somebody you trust there. Somebody with some local knowledge is helpful. You should have a local land title officer. I talk in another video about why it's so important to choose a good title company and a good title officer. You should have a good local real estate broker, somebody that you trust. It's really important to get a broker you trust that's going to represent you, that's not going to represent both sides of a deal. I think that's important. You need a good real estate appraiser. Those four, your surveyor, planner, your title officer, your real estate broker, and your appraiser, it really helps if you can hire those professionals in the region that you're working in. I'm not saying you always have to do that, but it helps. It helps to get people, those four professionals, it helps if they come from the area in that you're going to invest in or develop in. These other four aren't as important. They are important, just as important. It's not always as important that they be local. But it doesn't hurt either. So I'll give you the other four. You should have a good land attorney and or business attorney or both. You should have a good accountant, and you should have a good relationship with a lender or financer, maybe more than one lender, or people that can help you run the numbers and figure out your financing terms. So you want all 7 of those. I think there were 7. You want all 7 of those. You could, if you're going to develop and do more than just entitle property, if you're actually going to do physical construction, you also want a relationship with a good contractor and a good civil engineer. We can add those to the list, so that makes it 9. So let's just go over, let's say you're not going to mess with construction. You're just going to entitle property, deal with the land use, land title, subdivision, the paper title stuff, paper entitlement stuff. You need a good surveyor, land planner, good local real estate broker, good real estate appraiser, good land attorney or business attorney or both, a good accountant, and a good lender. Okay? That's your team. If you're going to do more than just hold a property and sell it, if you're going to actually do physical improvements, you need a good civil engineer and you need a good contractor. So let's close the video out with 5 questions you need to ask before you buy a property, before you make a real estate investment. These are the 5 questions that Sean needed to ask but didn't. Okay, so number 1, is the seller asking the right price? Remember, the seller may have already priced the opportunity in, that may already be baked into the price of the property. If that's the case, you got to be really careful with your math. You got to leave yourself some wiggle room there, right? Now, it's possible you've got an opportunity that other people haven't seen, or that your team has the skills to do things with a piece of property that other teams will struggle with. And in that case, there may be some arbitrage there, right? There may be more value in the parcel than is reflected in the price. But you got to be really careful there. Be humble. Be humble about that. Secondly, do I understand the current state of the parcel? So do you understand what you're buying? You're going to buy a car, you test drive it, you pop the hood, you walk around it, you kick the tires. Man, you got to do even more than that with a piece of land. So do you understand the physical state of the parcel? Do you understand the boundary issues? Do you understand the land title issues? Do you understand the land use planning issues? Have you identified the risks, right? We at Redefined Horizons, we've got a product that we put together. It's a surveyor report that you can get that helps you answer those questions. Third, do you understand the regulations, the local land use and subdivision regulations that are going to apply to your parcel? If you plan on doing a subdivision or changing the use, you need to know that. 4, you need to understand if you have the right type of financing. So do you have the right kind of financing lined up? Do you have the lending terms that you need? Do you have the flexibility with your lender that you need if you can't develop the property as fast, or maybe you can't sell it as fast, the market takes a downturn, do you have a lender that's going to work with you? Do the business deals or partnerships that need to be set up for the investment, do they properly balance risk and control? Remember, Sean didn't do that. He had all the risk, but not enough control. Do they provide all the partners with the right incentives? In that particular example, the partner Bill told Sean that he would help get the property entitled, but that he wanted to charge the partnership $25,000 a month for that assistance. That's crazy. That guy should have been doing that anyways. So he basically set up a deal where there was no downside for him, right? Either way, he was going to make out like a bandit, and Sean was probably going to get left holding the bag. So you don't want to, know who you're going into business with. Make sure that your contract and your business partnerships are set up so that everybody's got some skin in the game and some incentive to see the thing succeed. You need to ask yourself, do you understand all the risks? There's all kinds of different risks. Do you have a plan to identify those risks, to eliminate them, to mitigate them, or to transfer them? We've got some other videos that talk about that. I encourage you to watch those. And then finally, the last question, maybe one of the most important, is do you have the right consultant team in place? And we talked about who needs to be on your team. If you're going to develop land in urban areas of California, do not do it without the right consultant team. That is a must-have. And make sure you got the right people on your team. Don't get burned by being an amateur and getting in over your head on a piece of property in California.